Hello everyone and welcome to this slightly different video. Now let me explain the title first before we even get into the video. A lot of people in the past and more recently at the end of 2019, start of 2020 were talking about Gran Turismo Sport, the players and the players getting paid. Now I'm in very much too hard with this because I know getting money involved in any tournament brings a lot of toxicity there. And it's not something I want to see in Gran Turismo. While, yes, players do put in a lot of effort, so they should be rewarded for the effort they put in. But you could argue about the structure of the championship at the moment, and that money would actually not be going to the right people, potentially, because the best don't necessarily win because of the way it's structured, etc. So we're going to forget about all that. There's a lot of opinions around that. A lot of people have shared their opinions about that. However, it's had me thinking for a while, and it's a video I wrote down because what if all the prizes I've won from sim racing were actually turned to money rather than the actual prize? What would have happened? How much would I have actually won? How much would be in the bank account right now? How much would I be bathing in terms of money, in terms of what I've won? When I actually wrote down everything I've won, I've won quite a lot, to be fair. I'm actually pretty proud of what I've done in terms of sim racing in my years. I've actually got 9 years written down here, which is a heck of a lot, to be honest. A heck of a lot. Well, actually, I've got 8 years. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, no, I've got 9 years. 9 years. I can't work it out. There we go. So, let's begin. So, first of all, what was the first thing I won in esports? Racing esports, that's all we're talking about here. GT Academy 2011, I got to go to the national final. Now, in terms of the national final, it's very hard to monetize all this. So what I did is I said, well, how much was travel? How much is a hotel? How much is food and drink? How much is it for, the experience of being there? So staff helping out, etc. The fact that potentially you get to drive a car, etc. And I've just priced this around £1,000. It could be that it's £5,000 per person, or it could be a little bit less. Actually, I don't think it can be less, because you'll have to take a guest as well, so that soon adds up very fast. So I've put it at £1,000, okay? So that's what we're going to start off with, £1,000. GT Academy 2011. We then go, 1 year later, GT Academy 2012 National Final. Again, very simple, £1,000 there. It's a different area because obviously we're at Brands Hatch 2011, we're at Silverstone for 2012. Now, from GT Academy 2012, we actually got an invite to British GT. This was to support Jan, who was racing in British GT at the time. So we got free tickets. We also had an event there in terms of the GT pods and just had a little tournament amongst some national finalists. So I've classified that as £100. There we go, £2,100. Not doing too bad so far, really. We're only 2 years in. We then have the GTR driving experience, which I also won at the British GT from sim racing. Happy days, happy days. I've classified that as £100. I got to go back to Silverstone and drive a GTR. Bloody good fun as well, and we were overtaking everything on the circuit, so happy days. And I used that for what's coming next, GT Academy 2013. Obviously we went to the national final there. Again, nice easy number, classify it as £1,000. That puts us at £3,200. Now, from GT Academy 2013, of course, we made the European final. Now, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. Now, even though I classified the national final at £1,000, I have won the trophy. It's like literally over there. That's obviously worth quite a lot of money in the grand scheme of rarity, but it's still only £1,000. But European final now. So there's lots of numbers that fly about with this, okay? The American GT Academy, I heard rumours of $1 million. With the European one, what happens is all the Nissans from each of the countries all put money into it. So obviously the costs are spread out a little bit. I've heard over £1 million. I've classified this as £1 million, but it's not £1 million to me. Don't worry, I'm not saying I would have been a millionaire. What I am going to say though is that we need to divide that amongst the competitors. So let's divide that number by 42. There were 42 competitors, and that actually comes out at £23,809.52. Wow. That is a lot. So suddenly our value has shot up there. What's that up to? 27,000-ish. Unbelievable. You'll have the right figure on screen, of course. I'm obviously filming this video and then I did all the graphics afterwards. So that is an unbelievable number, and obviously that number should go up because you got to remember the European final. We're driving. Well, I got to race stock cars. I raced a GTR around the circuit. I raced a 370Z, a Nissan Duke. I did a Gymkhana, so that's obviously hiring an airfield. They hire Silverstone. That's 30 to 50 grand a day. They did that multiple times. Obviously, the people who got further in the competition technically got more money invested, but we still had experiences. So even if we got knocked out, for example. We went go-karting and we did other stuff as well. So there's quite a significant amount of money going into that, okay? We've also got TV cameras and all the gear you get. You get lots and lots of gear. So £23,809.52, okay. Now from that, the Gran Turismo, the UK, the people who help out in the UK for Gran Turismo, allowed me to help out at Goodwood in 2014 and 2015. Which is fantastic. It meant I got a unique experience at Goodwood. They paid for the travel, the hotel, the tickets into Goodwood. I got to go in the driver's area, have a unique experience in myself. Obviously, you help out with the pods around Goodwood, but you still get free time and get to go and do this stuff. Like I met Anthony Davidson, Troy Corser. You get to speak to these drivers and just have a general conversation. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. So I've classified each Goodwood. So I did 2 at £500 each. Obviously that could go up with how you value that experience, but just £500 there in terms of hotel, food and drink, and tickets and such. We then are going to go on to the GT Sport Reveal event. So obviously with helping out there, I also got the invite to help out at the GT Sport Reveal event. Now the Reveal event, the actual competitors were based on GT Academy 2015, which I couldn't enter, obviously, because I've already been to the European final. So I got to help out there. Again, I got the experience. They paid for travel, hotel. Obviously, I got the experience of being there. And they put a lot of money into this. A heck of a lot of money. Now, I wouldn't have been there if I hadn't done the sim racing, so I am classifying this. I just put £1,000 for this. I actually think it was more. I actually think they invested a hell of a lot into this reveal event. I mean, all the Vision Gran Turismo cars were there. They went all out. There was loads of Polyphony Digital staff there. Absolutely loads. I think they might have hired a plane just for themselves. Call it the PD plane. Go wherever you want. But, it's fair enough. It's great to see the amount of team there. It's brilliant. So I've classified that as £1,000 for that reveal event. We're then going to just venture off to another game. Obviously, in between Gran Turismo 6 and GT Sport, there was quite a large time gap or break. So I went to Project Cars and Project Cars 2. They did hold esports events, so I was a part of the Multiclass Championship. I was then a part of the amateurs on PC as well. I did the ESL events, which were like £50 if you won on a week, and then £100 if you won the monthly one, I think. Can't remember, it's a while ago. So I won around £1,000 from Project Cars 2. So obviously we're going to add that in there as well. Now also in Project Cars 2, and this is where I'm going to shout out a company here, Overclockers UK, right? Overclockers.co.uk. If you're from the UK and you need a PC building, go to them. Best customer support, hands down. I absolutely love their customer support. They've helped me out constantly with stuff. They've even kept to deals that I've finished, and I've gone to them and I've been like, please, can I have that? And they've gone, okay, yeah, let's do it. Overclockers.co.uk, amazing. So they had this tournament, okay? Virtual reality tournament. Go to their head office, go into the rig, set a lap time. If you're one of the fastest, you get to go to Palmer Sport, which is an unbelievable experience in itself. So we went to Palmer Sport twice. Now Palmer Sport's usually around £1,000. Now obviously they can do economies of scale by 12 tickets. I think there's 12 people there, or 8. I can't remember. Economies of scale anyway. So it might be a bit less than this, but we'll include just £1,000, or totally it's £1,000, because obviously we've got the experience of going as well. So £1,000 for the semi-final. I actually think the final's worth a bit more, because I was qualified for the final as well, because in the final they told the instructors you're not allowed to give tuition. Now they don't normally do that, okay? That was the first they'd ever done that. That's what they told us anyway. The fact that the instructors weren't allowed to give tuition, that's a unique experience. That adds value in itself. But we'll just classify that £1,000 again, so another couple of thousands there. So we're getting quite high there. What are we on to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're over 30k now. Obviously you'll see the exact figure on screen. We're over 30k. And then we get to, actually before I get to the World Tours, we've had 2 TGTs from Gran Turismo. We had one for the 2018 World Final and one for the 2019 World Final. So again, They're £500 each when they're on offer, so we'll just call them £500 each. That's another £1,000 ticked off the list. Right, now we get to World Tours. This is where it gets super duper complicated, okay? And I'm going to give you two values here. Two values. So, the first is a World Tour based on the costs when I investigate them. So, this is going to be like the minimum that I would say it costs or would be on offer to a player. So, for Monaco, and Monaco's slightly more expensive, but we're trying to, you know, average it out basically. The flight, they usually pay very expensive flights. If you ask any of the World Tour, I don't know why they pay so much, but they pay so much anyway. It's £1,000. £1,000. Obviously, some competitors it'll be more. So if you're coming from Australia, it's going to be more than £1,000. I'm just classifying it as £1,000. Transfer from the hotel, obviously 2018, we got a helicopter. 2019, I got an S-Class extended wheelbase to myself. So I put that at £200, and obviously you get it back again. That's coach hire, etc. We've then got the room at £200 a night for 5 nights, which is £1,000, of course. Food and drink, I put at £50 for the day, over 5 days. That's £250. I actually think that should be more, because we're talking in Monaco, for example. We had dinner at Raskas. It's very posh food. Paris, when we were in Paris, was ridiculously posh. So maybe it should be more. I don't know. I've just put £50. Obviously, you've got the after party as well. I put clothes at £20. Now, the reason I've done this is, obviously, one of these T-shirts is actually less than £20, but at the start of each season, you get brand new boots, gloves, and T-shirts, and at some of the events, you'll just get T-shirt and gloves, and at some events, you just get a T-shirt, and other events, you get water bottles, bags, other unique T-shirts. What have I said? Water bottles? I can't think now. You get all sorts. So, I'll just put £20 as an average, okay? Content capture, so obviously you get photographs, videos and stuff, which are very professional. The hire of that, I just put for 1 hour, like for a very good professional photographer, £150 for that hour. I suspect that should be more, but I am going to round this up, this value at the end. I've then put Meet Lewis, which is a unique experience in itself. You do get to meet and do stuff on these events. So I put meeting Lewis as £200. That's probably a lot more to meet Lewis in general, to be honest with you. But £200. And I've added 2 additional experiences because at these events, you know, we get unique experiences like going to at Nürburgring, going down to the hairpin to watch there, by the side at night in the after party. It's kind of crazy. So I'll put £200 there, £100 per experience, and I'll put 2 experiences. So that's 200 for Lewis, and then 2 more 100 for the 2 other experiences. And then insurance, I put £100 for each player. That adds up to £3,120. Now what I decided to do was add, round it up to £5,000 basically, because you've got other stuff in there in terms of content creation. You're literally going to end up on TV. They've got the overall experience. Like in Monaco, we've been out in Lamborghinis, we've done all sorts. We've gone to other events and we've done loads of random things, okay? So I've rounded up to £5,000, you know, all the staff being paid to be there, etc. It's huge. So £5,000 per event, I decided that was going to be it. So, which events have we been to? Now, just first of all, I've been to 10, which is ridiculous. I think I'm the second highest behind Fuvaros, okay? So, I've been to Nürburgring in 2018, which is the first event that they did, and you can definitely see the difference between then and now. I then went to Salzburg in 2018, and then Madrid, where we got a lot of free stuff actually in Madrid, a lot of free stuff. I would argue that Madrid's probably worth more than Salzburg and Nürburgring, and then Monaco in 2018. We then did a sneaky little trip. Now this got leaked, so Koke posted a picture on Twitter, I think it was Koke, and somebody noticed that there was a member of PD in the background of the picture. So we went to Amsterdam for a conference, and they paid for the flights and hotel again. They paid £400 for my flight, return flight from for Amsterdam. You can get it for like 50 quid in the UK, but they paid £400. But even so, they paid that. And then, yeah, I was on the plane, and they go, yeah, this plane's full, so make sure you've, you know, your luggage is wherever possible. Turns out it wasn't full. I think they might have paid for 2 seats for me, because every time it was free. By the side of me, except someone came to sit next to me on the way, which was really annoying. But even so, £700 are classified for Amsterdam. We then talk about 2019 World Tours, of course. So we went to Paris, Nürburgring, Salzburg, Tokyo, which you could argue is probably worth more than £5,000. Monaco. And then in 2020, we went to Sydney, which you would argue is probably worth the most out of all of those, because we have to fly from the UK all the way around the world to Australia. So that's 10 events. That's 50k on top of that 30k we were talking about earlier, or over 30k. That adds up to a startling, eye-watering £83,709.52. So that is what I potentially could have won in terms of money. Now, would I have wanted to win that in money? Now, it's a very nice number to have, if I'm honest. You know, that number is massive. You know, like, that's like a huge investment into a house or whatever it might be. But I would argue that I wouldn't have won that much. Here's why. If money was on offer, you will get other people from other esports coming to Gran Turismo. On top of that, and this is the nutty thing that I find amazing, I worked full-time, and I've worked full-time throughout all of this, apart from 2011. That's the exception, the national final. I was at uni then. I worked full-time. The fact I'm the second highest in terms of world tours blows my mind, okay? Because I work full-time, I then do the YouTube content creation, and then I've got other, obviously, you know, friends and etc. And I somehow still managed to qualify for this many events. I've been very lucky, to be honest. And I think if more people had come to Gran Turismo, if there's actually proper prize money, I don't think I would have qualified for half as much. So if I knock that half down, it's around 41.5k. Still quite a lot, though. Now, on top of all that, of course, there's a lot of hours invested. Now, I've actually done this calculation slightly wrong, I think. I've done it over 8 years rather than 9, so we'll classify 8 years. It's hard to work out. Basically, I've averaged it an hour a day, and then that many days. And it works out at, so for 8 years, it's £28.43. Something goes down. So that's how much you work per hour. How much per hour are you getting back? So it's actually not a lot in the grand scheme of it. I mean, these prizes look grand, but they're not grand. And I would argue that's probably a lot lower. So obviously when you're trying to qualify for these, 2019 it'd be more than an hour a day as an average. Like 100%. 2018, not so much. 2019, absolutely. 2019, I went absolutely ham. So, you know, it's not actually that much in the grand scheme of it. Now, the other thing as well with prize money is toxicity. I've talked about this before. I think toxicity would go through the roof. You'd have a lot more dirty driving, etc. So that's why I'm not really fond of prize money. But that is what I would say a minimum in terms of how much I would have won so far if all my prizes had been turned to money. £709.52. However, let's talk about World Tours in a different way. Now, there's a lot of money that goes into World Tours. A lot of money. Obviously, you've got the camera crews, just insurance for the event, all the equipment, all the staff, absolutely everything. Now, I'm going to give you a new value now. And this is obviously going to be slightly overinflated for what you could have won, but I'm going to give you a new value. So, I know that roughly, for the World Tour events now, are like £1 million an event. Obviously, shipping stuff all the way to Australia is going to be a lot more. I don't know what it is. So I've just valued most of these events at £1 million. Monaco is always more expensive because it's the creme de la creme of the events. So I'll put that at 2 million. And then the first event, Nürburgring, I'll put at 500k, okay? That's not what I would have won, by the way. So let's talk about Nürburgring first. What I've done is I've taken those totals and then I've divided it amongst the players. How many players were at the event? So for Nürburgring 2018, there were 30 players. There was just European players at Nürburgring 2018. And that divided, 500k divided by 30 players is £16,666. That's a lot. That's a hell of a lot. Salzburg, I put £1 million, so it's £1 million from here on out. I put at £27,027. There was 37 competitors at that event. I actually still think Salzburg 2018 is actually probably one of the best events that they've ever done, to be honest. I thoroughly enjoyed Salzburg 2018. Madrid, £33,333 and 33 pence if you really want it, because it was $1 million divided by 30 European competitors. Monaco 2018, now there were 66 competitors at this, £2 million, and that's £30,303.03. Now obviously I don't know the exact numbers, I just know that these figures are very rough estimates, and I think they're higher. I do think they're higher. Obviously all the staff, equipment, etc. is huge. Right, Let's go to Paris now in 2019. £1,000,000, 53 players, 18,867. Nürburgring 2019. £1,000,000, 55 players. Obviously, going to be a very similar number. 18,181. Salzburg 2019. £1,000,000, 52 players, £19,230. I'm not adding the pence here. There's lots of pence in there. Tokyo 2019. 60 players. So a lot of players went there. Obviously, you had the Super Cup in addition to that. So 16,666. And on another side note, I would argue that Tokyo probably should be higher, but obviously this should all average and even out. Monaco 2019. £2,000,000 divided by 56 players, £35,714. And then Sydney's a really nice number here. £1,000,000 divided by 50 players. Nice and easy, 20k. Now, if they were the true values, and that's the sort of prize money that would go on offer, I'm not saying it would. I mean, you could think Fortnite. Fortnite had ridiculous amounts, 30 million plus. But for prize pools and stuff and all that good stuff. I mean, obviously, members of Lazarus, $1.5 mil for 2 players got for their teamwork in 2v2s. That's mind-boggling money. In fact, the total, if we just counted that rather than my estimate of 5,000, is £269,701. What? That's mind-boggling. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be that much because there's a lot of investment in there. There's insurance for a lot of things in there, etc. That would obviously die down. They wouldn't necessarily invest that much because they wouldn't necessarily get the return on that much. But even so, if that was all turned to money, the prize is just with a flick like that, turned to money, and that was sat in my bank account, £269,701. It could be the 83k. That's more realistic. 269,000. Mind-boggling when I look at it. As I say, I mean, obviously I could retire on that. Would I change it though? As I say, I don't think I would have won even half that amount personally if that was, if it was prize money. I think I would have even struggled to go to any of the events, if I'm honest, because people would have gone absolutely ham. Because obviously then the pound per hour in terms of work skyrockets. Like it's over £100. Oh no, it's under £100. Sorry, it's about 80 quid for the 269 one. 83k is going to be what, 20 quid an hour or something like that. So there is reasonable. That's why you probably qualify for more. 90, 80 quid an hour work there. You're going to have a lot more people going for it because then their investment, their time investment is worth more. And that's what you've really got to look at. I am proud of what I've achieved in terms of sim racing. Obviously, it's harder and harder every time because you've got more and more responsibilities in life, the more you age, etc. But I thank you guys, actually. So I know this seems like a lot of bragging, but I've just given you some information there. What would happen? I personally don't think that we should be paid at the moment as GT Sport players or the top players, because I don't think I would get in there. But I don't think that they should be paid at the moment because I don't think the structure is quite right in terms of the championship. The point system doesn't work quite right. The way you qualify doesn't work quite right in terms of the manufacturers. How do you split it with manufacturers and nations? It gets very complicated. So I don't think they should have got they should get paid at the moment. I think it's a time investment versus, effort investment at the moment. I think the structure needs to change accordingly. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I say, I really thank you for the support that I've actually managed to achieve all that. I think that's actually unbelievable when I look at it. You guys do support me. I think I would have given up in 2019, if I'm honest, if it wasn't for you guys, supporting me through those events. Because I did go a bit above and beyond, like over 100% effort for that. And I did feel it a little bit. And so did the YouTube channel in a sense. So I do thank you for your support. As I say, I hope you enjoyed this video. Quite an interesting and unique video. What's your take on GT Sport players getting paid? Do you want to see them get paid? Do you think there should be a really decent structure first before they get paid? That's my opinion. I think at the moment, keep the experiences there and just go from there. But yes, that's going to be it for me now, folks. I've said that like 300,000 times now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, stay safe, and I will see you once again for a video on live stream very soon.